Military history tends to record injuries as isolated moments: a mortar strike at 0800, a fractured femur on a Thursday. To get VA disability compensation for that kind of event, the requirements are straightforward. You need a current disability, a specific incident from your time in service, and a clear medical link connecting the two. This traditional legal framework treats combat injuries as static artifacts. It locks the damage to the specific geography and timeline of the battlefield. But human biology does not stop changing when a service contract ends. What happens when an injury from a decade ago forces a soldier to walk differently, directly causing a severe joint problem today? A damaged body compensates over time. Decades after the initial trauma, those compensations trigger a chain reaction of entirely new symptoms. The Department of Veterans Affairs accounts for this biological reality through a mechanism called secondary service connection. This allows a veteran to receive compensation for a new injury that was caused or aggravated by an existing service-connected condition. Here is this legal mechanism visualized. The challenge is obvious. The new diagnosis did not happen in the military. To secure benefits, the veteran must medically prove the original military injury is biologically responsible for the new one. To process these claims, the VA's legal system has to adopt the mindset of a physician. It has to track cause and effect across a lifetime. The master rulebook for tracking these medical chain reactions is Title 38, Part 4 of the Code of Federal Regulations, known as the Schedule for Rating Disabilities. The regulations provide clear mechanical examples of how this works. Let's look at Section 4.58, Arthritis due to strain. We start with a veteran who suffered a lower extremity amputation while in service. Over 20 or 30 years of walking, the body compensates. The loss of that leg forces a disproportionate amount of weight bearing onto the lumbar spine and the opposite knee. As the diagram shows, the mechanical strain eventually takes a toll. The veteran develops severe arthritis in their lower back and their remaining leg. The VA classifies this new arthritis as service incurred. The amputation itself created the biological conditions that caused the joint degradation. These biological chain reactions are not limited to bones and joints. They ripple across entirely different systems in the body. Consider Section 4.115a. This diagram illustrates a veteran dealing with service-connected diabetes mellitus type 2. Over time, the metabolic disease degrades the vascular system, which leads directly to secondary renal or kidney dysfunction. Or look at Section 4.124a for traumatic brain injury. A single concussive event in service can act as a trigger, creating a cascade of secondary physical, endocrine, and psychiatric disorders years after discharge. But the VA does draw a strict legal boundary here, found in Section 4.14. It is called the Rule Against Pyramiding. Pyramiding prevents a veteran from taking a single symptom, attaching a new medical diagnosis to it, and getting compensated twice for the exact same functional loss. To qualify for secondary connection, the new condition has to be a biologically distinct consequence. It must create a new impairment, not just offer a new medical term for an old one. This strict boundary, balanced with the secondary connection rules, points to the true intent behind the VA rating schedule, defined in Section 4.10, Functional Impairment. The law explicitly states that disability evaluations are based on the ability of the body as a whole to function under the ordinary conditions of daily life. Secondary service connection is the legal system's way of acknowledging that no injury exists in a vacuum. Succeeding in this system requires treating the human body exactly as this legislation does, as an interconnected machine, where a failure in one part inevitably stresses another. Knowing this dictates how a veteran must prepare a claim. The burden of proof relies heavily on private medical provider records. The VA needs clinical evidence from your doctors, mapping exactly how the initial injury caused the secondary condition. The most effective approach is to submit a fully developed claim. This means gathering all those medical links and expert opinions yourself, presenting the VA with a complete, indisputable biological timeline. The battlefield events might be decades in the past, but under VA law, the medical story of that service is still actively being written today.